Because everything that you have to ever know in the universe is written in one book, people are insecure about that because we know what's written. The question is not whether everybody is like that or not. We're just afraid one day book will play upon us.
There's also a very different kind of hatred that's exploited by wonderful politicians as well.
Well, I hope I'm exempt because I'm very much passionately a believer in inclusive India.
I'm also exempt from the health problem.
I don't, I don't like to demonize anybody, especially for things they can't help. I mean, demonizing somebody for the faith into which they were born, or the community in which they live, or the way they look, or the color of their skin, or the language they're brought up to speak, or the clothes they wear, or the food they eat.
Sadhguru says, just a fear, it's a fear.
So, I was intrigued to hear Sadhguru say that because obviously some of the fear is stoked up. It is stoked, as you yourself said, partly for political purposes.
No.
Unfortunately, there is often a politics of polarization that assumes that whipping up certain sentiments will gather certain votes for a particular community. There is a politics of identity that says, let's promote the interests of our caste alone, or our group alone, or our faith alone, at the expense of others. So I'm certainly not expecting and accepting the political process whatsoever from this. But at the same time, it is not right, it seems to me, to suggest that this is somehow natural. It is actually, no baby is born intolerant. Somebody's teaching that baby its attitudes, its beliefs, whom to like, whom to dislike. And in the same way, I think in our politics, we are allowing some of our leaders to tell us whom to dislike and why, for reasons that in fact are not part of our daily lives. You rightly said in the villages of India, people live side by side and they don't feel any of this hatred and unpleasantness.
Is that a correct interpretation of what you meant?
No, because
Not, it's not.
taking,
you got it wrong again.
See, I don't wish to take a political stance because I've never associated myself with any political ideology at any time, not today. So, what I see is, what we are today, in many ways, we are products of history, we cannot completely eliminate it. The British history that you have extensively spoken about, written about, the thing about the British is they exploited you commercially. For them, you were just a resource. They had no other interest in you, they don't care which god you worship, whether you go to a temple or you don't go to a temple.
Is it okay that they eat beef?
Huh? I'm sorry?
Is it okay that they eat beef?
If you have a wrong choice of food, it's up to you, what's my problem?
So anybody can eat beef is their choice. Is that what you're saying? Okay, of course.
No, what I'm saying is…
That goes against what a lot of people feel.
I'll come to that. We can look at that later. This aspect. But when it comes to these religious invasions that happened, whatever the thought behind that thought you must surrender. You see, if I do something horrible to you today, 10 days later if we meet, at least I must show some regret or remorse in what I have done. When I'm proud of what I have done to you, this is not going to settle, all right? This is what you are expecting. When people are very proud of what they have done to you in the past, now you want it to settle, it's not going to settle. It is just… I'm saying it'll just be an academic debate, it is not going to be a social reality. I'm not interested in any debate unless it's a solution for the problems that we are in.
So what's the solution?
The solution is… the important thing is, you can do whatever you want, but you have no business to tell me what I should do, all right?
And vice versa.
Everywhere. I'm saying for anybody.
Yes, yes.
Essentially, this is this. Because people believe certain things, because everything that you have to ever know in the universe is written in one book, people are insecure about that because we know what's written. The question is not whether everybody is like that or not. We're just afraid one day book will play upon us. So one thing that you have to do is, first thing, whatever the past cruelties that have been done, many things, it's not a simple process.
Right.
See, people have forgotten what has happened in this Delhi, what has happened in one afternoon 20,000 people were killed in one of these days, 3 centuries ago. People have not forgotten these things because they know what will happen to them. And what has happened in Kashmir, people have not forgotten. Maybe people try to act like it didn't happen, but it has happened. So,
Well,
if
can
the
I-
demographics don't change, you will see everything will settle down. The thing is, continuously people in a very strategic way trying to change the demographic dynamic. Now people are afraid because they know if the numbers increase, what will happen to them? So just don't do that one thing, you will see all problems will settle, believe me. I know the communities very well.
Right. At least you're positive and optimistic about it, but you do bring a lot of history into what people's fear today is, and that is a bit worrying. There is a Buddhist tale about two Buddhist monks walking down the road, and they come to a part which is very, lot of mud and water, and there's an old lady there, and she wants to cross. And one of the monks takes her on
I know.
takes her on his back and takes her across. And while he's taking her across, she kicks him and beats him and says, "You're hurting me, don't go this way," and curses him and shouts at him. Finally goes around, puts the other side and puts her down, and both the monks walk on. And after 2 hours, one monk says to the older one, "That lady was so horrible and you didn't say anything, you just let her go, why didn't you say something?" And he says, "You're still carrying that lady? I put her down 2 hours ago." Shouldn't you put down your history?
That's what I said.
Just put it down.
I think that story is totally not relevant to me.
No, of course not, of course not.
Not relevant to the situation either, because the story is not the situation is not about what happened. The situation is that there is no sense of remorse or regret about what happened.
You want the lady to regret?
Not the lady. See, that's a totally different… So I think I have a better way of telling that story. That's a
You have a better way of telling most stories.
No, that's not the point. That is a spiritually significant story, that's a different matter.
Okay.
This is a reality which we are living in, where people who firmly believe their way is the only way to go to heaven, all right? First of all, I'm not interested in going to your heaven, so leave me alone. But you keep on trying to change the demographics, there will be fear. If you think that is an empty fear, then you have to see what's happened. What is happening even now in certain parts of the world, you must see. It is not an empty fear. So I'm saying, whatever you believe, it's your
So
faith.
you say…
First of all, let me finish this.
Sure.
I feel, the moment you believe something, you are disabling yourself. Because belief essentially for me means you are not straight enough to admit you do not know. As far as I'm concerned, either I know something or I don't know something, that's all there is. Everything that you don't know, you believe, and you want me to believe the same thing? No. So this culture has never imposed anything on anybody because nobody believes anything. We are seekers. Seeker means what? You can be a genuine seeker only when you realize you do not know.
Right.
So, this is of a certain nature. Now in reaction, unfortunately, we also tending to become like that, which is a very sad thing, okay? But at the same time, a society is not made by… till now at least, maybe in future it might. Society is not made by spiritual wisdom. Unfortunately, it's made on the streets, how people react, how they fight, how they defend themselves, what they can preserve, what they cannot preserve. In this is how societies are made still. It's a crude way of doing things, but that is how it's made and that's how it is still now.
But
Till we
didn't you
change
just
that-
say earlier that you've traveled around India recently and throughout your life, even as a young man, when you were on a motorbike, people live with each other in complete peace and harmony and without fear, without thinking of the history and without thinking of
Even
numbers.
now it is true.
And Shashi says that
I'm
it
telling
then…
you, even now it is true, except those communities which are kind of little ghettoed, except in those places, everywhere else, even now it is true in this India. Just now, 30 days I've driven across the country.
Right.
Even now it is true, every kind of people, every kind of community leaders came to me and spoke to me and I spoke to them, all this happens.
Right.
I'm saying, one thing is a whole lot of people, particularly, I'm sorry, political class is trying to exploit the differences, all right?
I think you agree on that. Okay.
I think I agree with Sadhguru. The thing is
No,
that
no,
when
when
you
I
look
say
at…
political class, I don't mean to say every political person is doing it,
course
after all. Politics is a dirty
Sadhguru,
job that
don't-
somebody is doing for us because we are not willing to do it.
That's right. So someone like you who has such a major role in society as a Sadhguru, should you and others like you not take on the role of educating people to overcome the fears you mentioned? I mean, the fear of demography is even mathematically an absurd one. 80% of the population is Hindu. How can they be afraid of a small minority of a smaller minority? And what is the demographic calculation by which this number can overcome us? Should we not educate them
I'll
to
tell
leave
you.
their fear behind and say, look, let bygones be bygones, as he said, put that baggage down. You referred to Nadir Shah's attack in Delhi, 1739. I've written about the British attack in Delhi, 1857. But if we can forget the British, let's forget Nadir Shah too.
No, we can forget it. We just have to make sure it doesn't get repeated, that's all. I will tell you what's the fear.
But you're not justifying hate.
I am not
right?
justifying.
Thank
I'm
God.
saying,
Thank God. That's fine.
first and foremost thing is, whatever people have done historically, we don't have to hold it as a reality today.
Correct.
Only thing is, all communities should distance themselves from that historical events. But I will tell you, wherever there is a certain majority, you will see all other things get naturally pushed out, totally, which is not the way this country has operated. I am telling you, in Tamil Nadu, if I go to certain districts, without asking me, the state provides me security. I say, why? So, Sadhguru, you don't understand, certain communities are saying you are coming and you will convert them into something else which is not their way. So they put police around me. I say, what nonsense, in India, why do I need police around me, for me? They say, that's not the way it is. It happened in Tamil Nadu when I went to Kanyakumari. They put over 300 armed police around me. I said, what the hell is this? I've never asked for security in my life, in Tamil Nadu especially. But they put armed police in a program where there are about 12,000 people. I'm walking up and down the ramp and speaking. These armed men are walking up and down with me.